Divine delay is not denial, it is protection working quietly beyond your sight. When something you expected does not happen on time, your first reaction may be disappointment or confusion. You may question your worth, your preparation, or even your faith. But delay does not automatically mean rejection. Sometimes it means redirection. Sometimes it means unseen factors are being rearranged for your safety. A postponed meeting, a cancelled plan, a door that refuses to open. These are not always obstacles. They can be shields. In the moment, you only see interruption. Later, you see intelligence. You realize that if things had moved according to your schedule, you would have stepped into a situation that was not aligned with your growth. Delay stretches your patience, but it also sharpens your perception. It forces you to slow down and examine what you might have rushed past. Protection rarely feels comfortable because it often comes disguised as inconvenience. Yet when the full picture unfolds, you understand that what felt like being held back was actually being held together. Consider how many decisions are made impulsively when everything flows quickly. Speed creates excitement, but it can also hide warning signs. Delay, on the other hand, creates space. In that space, clarity develops. You notice inconsistencies. You sense unease that you previously ignored. You begin to ask better questions. That pause becomes powerful because it interrupts automatic movement. It gives you time to reassess intentions, yours and others. Protection is not always dramatic. It does not always arrive with loud alarms. Often it comes through subtle resistance. Plans shift, timelines stretch, communication changes. What appears to be a setback becomes a safeguard. The key is perspective. If you interpret every delay as failure, you will miss the lesson. But if you see delay as possible protection, you remain steady. You wait without bitterness. You prepare without panic. And in that posture, you grow stronger. When you look back on seasons of delay, you often discover hidden mercy within them. The job you did not get may have shielded you from instability. The relationship that stalled may have prevented deeper disappointment. The opportunity that vanished may have cleared space for something more aligned. Protection works with precision. It considers factors you cannot see. It accounts for conversations happening behind closed doors. It responds to risks you are unaware of. That is why patience is essential. Trust does not mean inactivity. It means maintaining effort without forcing outcomes. It means believing that timing carries wisdom. Divine delay refines character. It builds resilience. It teaches you to rely on discernment instead of impulse. And when the right door finally opens, it opens with clarity, not confusion. You step forward without second guessing because you understand that waiting was not wasted time. It was preparation. It was alignment. It was protection guiding you exactly where you needed to be. Spiritual discernment is the quiet ability to sense what is not immediately visible. It goes beyond surface words and polished appearances. Many situations look harmless at first glance. Conversations sound supportive. Opportunities seem beneficial. Yet beneath the surface, intentions may not align with your well-being. Discernment is not suspicion rooted in fear. It is awareness rooted in wisdom. It allows you to pause before agreeing, to observe before reacting, and to question before committing. When you cultivate discernment, you stop being easily impressed by outward confidence or authority. You begin to evaluate patterns instead of promises. You listen not only to what is said, but also to what is avoided. This inner awareness protects you from manipulation and rushed decisions. It keeps you grounded when emotions try to rush you forward. Discernment grows stronger through reflection, prayer, experience, and honest self-examination. It sharpens when you learn from past mistakes instead of ignoring them. Every time you acknowledge a warning sign and act with caution, you strengthen this inner compass. Discernment is not dramatic. It is steady. It does not shout. It gently alerts. And when you respect it, you avoid many complications before they ever fully form. Hidden intentions often reveal themselves through small inconsistencies. Words and actions may not align. Promises may shift depending on convenience. Energy may change when certain topics arise. Without discernment, these signals are dismissed as minor details. With discernment, they become valuable information. This awareness does not make you judgmental. It makes you prepared. You learn to separate emotional attachment from objective evaluation. You understand that not everyone who approaches you carries pure motives. Some seek advantage, others seek control. But when you operate with discernment, you do not react with hostility. You respond with boundaries. You choose distance when necessary. You ask direct questions when clarity is required. You avoid oversharing sensitive information. Discernment teaches restraint. It reminds you that silence can be stronger than explanation. It also protects your peace, because you no longer feel compelled to confront every issue immediately. Sometimes awareness alone is enough to guide your next step. As you grow, your level of responsibility increases. The higher your influence, the more carefully you must evaluate who has access to you. Discernment becomes essential when decisions carry greater impact. It helps you recognize supportive alliances and avoid subtle sabotage. It prevents you from being deceived by appearances or pressured by urgency. True discernment balances intuition with logic. It considers facts while respecting inner conviction. And when hidden intentions are finally exposed, you are not shocked, you are prepared. You may even realize that you sensed something earlier but waited for confirmation. That patience is strength. Spiritual discernment is a lifelong skill. It matures through experience and reflection. It keeps you steady in uncertain environments. It protects your vision from distraction. And most importantly, it allows you to move forward with confidence, knowing that you are not navigating blindly, but thoughtfully, carefully, and wisely. Exposure often happens at the perfect time, not necessarily the time you expect. When you first notice dishonesty, betrayal, or hidden motives, your instinct may be to react immediately. You may want the truth revealed at once so that justice feels restored, but timing plays a critical role in how truth unfolds. If exposure happens too early, evidence may be incomplete. If it happens too late, damage may deepen. Perfect timing ensures clarity. It allows patterns to fully develop so they can no longer be denied. What once looked like isolated incidents become undeniable sequences. When truth surfaces at the right moment, it speaks for itself. You do not need to argue loudly or defend endlessly. The facts align. The inconsistencies reveal themselves, and what was hidden gradually loses its cover. This process can feel slow, even frustrating. Yet patience during that waiting period strengthens your character. It prevents you from acting impulsively. It teaches restraint and emotional control. Exposure is not about revenge. It is about revelation, and revelation carries more power when it is supported by undeniable proof rather than emotional reaction. In many situations, people attempt to manage their image carefully. They construct narratives, they control conversations, they present selective information to maintain influence. For a while, it may seem like they are succeeding. You might even question your own perception, but truth has endurance. Deception requires constant maintenance, and eventually cracks appear. Small contradictions accumulate, stories shift. Behavior changes under pressure. Over time, what was carefully hidden becomes difficult to sustain. When exposure arrives, it often feels sudden to observers, but in reality, it has been building quietly. The timing ensures that multiple perspectives have witnessed the same inconsistencies. This collective awareness makes denial ineffective. Exposure at the perfect time protects you from appearing reactive or bitter. Instead, you appear steady and composed. Your silence during the waiting period becomes evidence of maturity. While others rush to conclusions, you remained grounded. That stability strengthens your credibility when the truth finally emerges. Understanding this principle changes how you respond to conflict. Instead of forcing outcomes, you focus on maintaining integrity. Instead of obsessing over being proven right, you concentrate on consistent behavior. When your actions remain aligned with your values, you do not fear exposure. In fact, transparency becomes your strength. The perfect timing of revelation clears confusion. It separates authenticity from performance. It restores trust where it belongs and removes influence from where it does not. Most importantly, it teaches you that you do not need to manipulate circumstances to reveal truth. Patience and consistency often accomplish what confrontation cannot. Exposure that unfolds at the right moment carries authority. It ends speculation, it settles doubt, and it creates space for forward movement without unresolved tension. Trusting the timing allows you to remain focused, knowing that what is hidden will not remain hidden forever. Delays test faith and strengthen character in ways immediate success never could. When progress is slow, you are forced to confront your motives. Are you committed to the outcome, or only to the applause that might come with it? Waiting exposes impatience, fear, and doubt, but it also builds endurance. Faith is easy when results are visible. It becomes meaningful when you continue without visible confirmation. In seasons of delay, you learn discipline. You continue preparing even when opportunities seem distant. You refine your skills without external validation. This process shapes your inner foundation. Character is not formed in moments of comfort. It is refined in uncertainty. When you cannot control the timeline, you must control your attitude. That choice determines growth. Delay removes shortcuts. It challenges entitlement. It teaches humility. You realize that lasting success requires depth, not speed, and depth takes time. The waiting period may feel uncomfortable, but it is developing qualities that quick achievements often lack. Strength, patience, and resilience are not instant traits. They are cultivated slowly through repeated perseverance. When expectations are not met immediately, frustration naturally arises. You may question whether your effort is effective. You may compare your progress to others who appear to advance more quickly. Comparison intensifies discouragement. Yet every path carries different timing and lessons. Delays push you to examine your response under pressure. Do you abandon your standards when results are delayed, or do you maintain consistency regardless of recognition? This is where character is strengthened. Integrity is proven when no one is watching. Commitment is tested when rewards are postponed. During these periods, emotional maturity develops. You learn to manage disappointment without becoming bitter. You learn to adapt without losing direction. Faith in this context is not blind optimism. It is steady commitment despite incomplete evidence. It is choosing trust over panic. The delay becomes a training ground for emotional control and mental clarity. Instead of reacting impulsively, you learn to respond thoughtfully. That discipline becomes valuable long after the waiting season ends. When the breakthrough finally arrives, you recognize that you are not the same person who began the journey. The delay changed you. It removed arrogance and replaced it with gratitude. It replaced impatience with understanding. It taught you to value preparation as much as achievement. Because your character was strengthened, you can now handle greater responsibility. Rapid success without internal growth often leads to instability, but success that follows refinement carries sustainability. You have learned to endure uncertainty without losing focus. That endurance becomes your advantage. Delays do not waste time. They develop capacity. They expand your tolerance for pressure. They deepen your awareness. And most importantly, they prove that your commitment is genuine. When you understand this, you stop fearing delays. You begin to see them as necessary stages in becoming ready for what you have been working toward all along. Not every authority figure carries pure motives, and understanding this requires maturity rather than rebellion. Authority exists in many forms: leaders, supervisors, mentors, officials, even influential voices in communities. While many serve with integrity, some misuse their position for personal advantage. Recognizing this reality does not mean becoming cynical. It means becoming observant. Power can either protect or manipulate, depending on the character of the one holding it. Titles and positions do not automatically guarantee honesty. Influence can create blind trust, and blind trust can lead to disappointment. That is why discernment must accompany respect. You can honor structure while still evaluating behavior. Watch how authority treats those who cannot offer them benefit. Observe whether their decisions are consistent or selective. Integrity reveals itself through patterns, not speeches. When someone in authority pressures you to compromise your values or rush your decisions, that is a signal to pause. Healthy leadership empowers. Unhealthy leadership controls. Understanding the difference protects you from being intimidated by status alone. It is easy to assume that those who investigate, question, or supervise are automatically aligned with fairness. However, some may approach their role with hidden agendas. They may gather information not to support growth, but to gain leverage. They may present themselves as protectors while quietly seeking control. This does not mean you must challenge every directive. It means you must remain aware of your boundaries. Confidence allows you to comply with reasonable expectations while resisting manipulation. Authority that discourages transparency often has something to hide. When questions are met with hostility rather than clarity, that response speaks loudly. You do not need confrontation to protect yourself. Sometimes professionalism and documentation are enough. Maintain clear communication. Keep records when necessary. Speak respectfully but firmly. Authority figures with pure motives will appreciate accountability. Those without integrity will become uncomfortable when transparency increases. Your calm consistency becomes your safeguard. Maturity is shown not in rejecting authority, but in navigating it wisely. You can respect leadership while still thinking independently. You can follow guidance without surrendering your judgment. When you recognize that not every authority carries pure motives, you stop being naive and start being balanced. This awareness strengthens your confidence. You no longer feel pressured to please everyone in power. Instead, you focus on aligning with principles rather than personalities. Over time, integrity exposes misuse of authority. Patterns reveal themselves, reputations shift, and those who relied on position instead of character eventually face consequences. Meanwhile, your steady conduct protects your credibility. By remaining composed and ethical, you separate yourself from manipulation without unnecessary conflict. Understanding this principle allows you to operate with respect, caution, and strength, honoring structure while safeguarding your values and long-term growth. God warns before major shifts or danger, but the warning is not always dramatic. It does not always arrive through loud signs or unmistakable signals. Often it comes as a subtle discomfort, a repeated thought, or an unexpected delay that interrupts your plans. Before a significant change, there is usually a moment of awareness, a feeling that something needs closer attention. Many people ignore these impressions because they seem small or inconvenient, yet warnings are often quiet by design. They invite reflection rather than panic. When you sense hesitation about a decision, that pause may be protective. When a conversation feels slightly off, that awareness may be guidance. The key is learning to slow down long enough to evaluate what you are sensing. Major shifts require preparation, and warnings provide that preparation. They create space to reconsider, to gather more information, and to avoid unnecessary harm. Instead of dismissing these signals, treat them with respect. You do not need fear to respond wisely. You need attentiveness. When you respond thoughtfully to early warnings, you prevent larger consequences later. Danger rarely appears without indicators. There are patterns, inconsistencies, and small disruptions that precede significant problems. The challenge is that these signs can be subtle. A change in tone, a sudden shift in behavior, or pressure to act quickly without clarity, these are often early alerts. When something urges you to slow down, listen. Urgency can cloud judgment. Warnings restore balance. They give you time to seek counsel, verify facts, and evaluate motives. Ignoring warnings often stems from overconfidence or the desire for immediate results. You may convince yourself that everything will work out, even when evidence suggests caution. Wisdom, however, values preparation over impulse. Paying attention does not mean becoming anxious. It means becoming responsible. You can continue moving forward while staying alert.